So in this video, I'm going to show you one of the most beautiful Lenormand decks I've personally ever seen. Stay tuned. Hi everyone, it's Ray with Tarot Living, the channel where we talk about all things spiritual. So if you haven't already subscribed, you'll want to hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell notification in order to get emails that I've posted a video. And you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook. All of my links are below. So today is a special day because I'm going to do a deck review on a Lenormand deck that I saw online. It was actually a photo on a friend of a friend's Facebook page. I wrote to the friend and I said, "What cards are these?" And she said, "It is a new deck that I just got," and she gave me the information, and it is this deck, and I ordered it pretty much the same day. So let me tell you about this deck. It is called the MONDNACHT LENORMAND, and I probably mispronounced that a little bit, and so I do apologize if I did. The creator of this deck is Patrick Scheller. And Patrick is a lovely man that I've been corresponding with after I bought the deck, and I said it is literally the most beautiful deck I think I've seen in a while. So I corresponded with him and said I'd like to do a deck review, and he was able to provide me with a lot of background information about himself, about his artwork, and how this deck came about. So the first thing is the translation for this deck in English is Moonlit Night Lenormand. Isn't that beautiful? Moonlit Night. And the images, which you'll see, really lend itself to that name. The name of the deck was actually inspired by a poem by a fellow named Eichendorff, and he created this poem that was about moonlit night. And so Patrick actually created his images and then later realized that that name would be really suitable. So the deck is on Etsy. He's got a website as well. All of the links will be below, and I'll be saying it again through the video. But when you order the deck, it is under its German name, so MONDNACHT LENORMAND. So just, know that it's not an English name. I know when I was ordering it, I thought, I don't know what that actually means, but he did translate it for me. So if I were to give you just a few words before you see some of the images of kind of the overview of the deck, I would have to say that it's very subtle, it is very textured, it's minimalistic, there's a clarity to it, and the images are just really, really beautiful. It almost reminds me of some impressionistic work. Impressionism has sort of a subtlety of color and a lot of similar colors in it. And that's what it reminds me of, is just sort of that very subtle kind of impressionistic work. I'll just show you a peek of some of the images. So there's the ship, for example. And here's the rider. So you can see the beauty of the textures. Here's the house. I just want to go back though and tell you a little bit more about Patrick and how he created the deck. So he's been working with and reading Lenormand for quite some time. And he just really felt like a lot of images in other decks and a lot of decks in general just were not satisfying him in terms of his own card reading and his own growth, with Lenormand. So he felt like he wanted to create his own deck. He actually said that he created a lot of the images in his mind, long before he actually put them, into the computer and did them digitally. And when he actually went to do it digitally and create them, it only took him 4 months, which was to me shocking because, of course, as you know, I'm in year 5 or something with my tarot deck. So, it was really just amazing how quickly he actually created it. And he's a web designer in his 9-to-5 life, so he's very, of course, familiar with technology. So he did do them digitally. He has some background in doing some acrylic and pastels, but this was really his first artistic, card deck that he did. And he does plan to do another card deck of some type. I'm not sure what. He also has a book that he's created, and unfortunately it is still only in German, but he will be translating it sometime in the next year or two, I'm sure. So when that happens, you would be able to find out on his website. Again, this card deck is for sale at Etsy, and that's where I got mine, and his website will also be below. So here's the scythe. Isn't that stunning? And here's the whip. I have to put my hand up because I've got lighting here and it's very, very bright. Okay, look at this. This is the child. You see the natural color tones? I'm seeing a lot of taupes, and I'm seeing a lot of greens and subtle blues and a lot of cream color. They're really stunning. They drew me in immediately. I just find them super stunning. And I love the tower, for example. It's just so minimalistic. So let's talk about some of the things that are on the cards and some of the things that are not on the cards, because he did want to keep it very clear and have the image of the Lenormand deck really stand out and be, you know, kind of the star of the show. He wanted the image itself to just pop and say, you know, that's the card came up and the image is the most important aspect. From a stylistic choice, he actually did not put the playing card inserts, is what we call them, and he was referring to them as scats. So there'll be an actual card, like a playing card, that's usually inserted in. And sometimes they've really dropped that down to a minimalistic kind of thing where like they won't even put the actual playing card. So I think people are kind of moving away from it to some degree. But I'm not a Lenormand expert. I have many decks here, but it's because I read actually Lenormand just on the side of my tarot readings occasionally when there's something that I'm not quite sure of, the really bare bones, what's going to happen in the actual situation currently. I'll sometimes do a 3-card Lenormand draw. So I wanted to do this review because I can, you know, when I see an amazing card deck, I will tell people about it because it is stunning. The other thing about this deck is that the cardstock that he chose is 410 grams, which is unusually gorgeous and amazing. And when I actually unpacked this deck and saw the cardstock or felt the cardstock, I was stunned. I was in love immediately with it. And I must tell you that cardstock for me is pretty much paramount. So it can be the best images in the world, but if the cardstock is terrible, I actually won't read with the deck. I have seen cardstock that once you take it out of the cellophane packaging, within 24 hours, it's literally bending and you can't even put it flat on the table. So it's a really big issue for me. And this cardstock was so amazing that I wrote to him and said, first of all, the deck is amazing. And secondly, how many grams is that cardstock? Because I can't believe it's so amazing. So he had given me some information about it because of course I'm working on a tarot deck, so I was just wanting to know. But the beautiful thing is that even though it's amazingly, you know, thick cardstock, it's not the kind of thick cardstock that you feel like you're dealing with cardboard pieces or something. You know, like sometimes there's decks that it's just a little bit too thick. It's not like that. It's actually like velvet. It's just amazing. So I'm going to show you a few more images, and these are some of my favorites right here. And then I'm going to tell you a few other things, and I'm going to show you all the images at the end. So that's the sun card. Here's the moon, which is gorgeous. Here's the key, of course. And there's the fish, which is one of my personal favorites. It is absolutely stunning. If you're a Lenormand reader and you know you don't necessarily need to have the playing cards on the front, and you know, then this would be the deck for you. I'm telling you, it is truly amazing. Right. The other thing I wanted to tell you about is just the card back. So here's the card back, and you can see the moon has made its appearance in the card back, and you see how there's all of those kind of geometric shapes. What I thought was really interesting is that from everything that Patrick sent to me about himself, I'd sent him about 15 questions and he wrote lots on all of the questions. But one thing I really noticed about him is that he's kind of similar to me in a way because he works between logic and systematic ideas and intuition. So he actually feels like if you have a systematic approach to reading Lenormand, then your intuition can be triggered. And it can be triggered through the focus on those images and the focus on those textures and really letting the image speak to you. But what I thought was interesting is that the moon, of course, represents intuition and all of those watery qualities that we hold. And so that's kind of like Patrick's intuition to me. And then some of his more, logical or more methodical, systematic way of approaching Lenormand is really in those geometric shapes. So I felt like this really represented him in a way. So that was just my observation. But, I just really feel like he likes to have a systematic approach, but yet then letting the intuition be triggered and letting the intuition come out. So I think I paid around 35 Canadian, but, depending on where you live, of course, the conversion would be different. I can't recall exactly, but you can just click on Etsy, click on the website, and check it out. I can tell you this is one of the most beautiful decks I've seen in a while, and I would highly recommend it. So please check out the links below and check out Etsy where you can order it. His website, I think a lot of it is in German, but I was able to translate a lot through Google Translate and read more about him. So, and of course you have my video now so that you can understand a little bit more about Patrick and a little bit more about the MONDNACHT LENORMAND deck. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a like or a thumbs up. Take care.